Firstly, I will not say that I sponsor myself. I would rather say that God sponsored me. Because how I went through is not by my own human efforts, but by the grace of God. Since you've asked about my upbringing, my father had 4 wives, and with a total of 14 children. And incidentally, I happened to be the only one from my mom to him. The first wife had 4 children. Second happened to be my mother, just 1. Third wife, I think 2 or 3. But the fourth wife that stayed longer with him has 7 children. The problem with the polygamous family is that he decided that he won't send any female to secondary school. So all the female in the family, except for the children with the last wife, ended up with the primary school education. And on my own side, he only chose 1 person from each mother to go to secondary school. And since I'm the only one from my mom, I benefited from 1 from each mother. And he decided that he won't sponsor anybody beyond secondary school. And that led to one would have thought that would have been the end of my education. But for the fact of God's grace, I became born again when I was in Form 4. So I did my school start as a born again Christian, and I believe that as from that time, God has been leading my life, directing my life. I will say that I was highly committed to Christ as soon as I became born again. I was serious with Him, no playing around or no playing with sin since that particular time. And it is in the course of that that God directed my life. My first job with my school set happened to be in Port Harcourt, so I have to relocate from Lagos to take a job in Port Harcourt. I think I worked with the company for about 3 years. While some other people would have said that was a good job, that one should settle in for life, but God told me that I need to move higher and that I need to have a higher education. And that's why I decided to start to apply for admission. And as I've said so many times in my messages, that I informed my father that I will be furthering my education, and he replied it with a very good letter that we are happy to know that you are furthering your education, but please don't make the mistake of asking us for a single kobo. That alone will have made somebody to say he or she will not go forward again. But I heard the voice of God. God said He will back me up. How God was going to do it, I myself did not know until God started manifesting what He was doing. And as I've said many times, humanly speaking, I decided to start to make some savings. I was making some savings, keeping money, not spending all my salaries at the same time. But my savings may not take me beyond year 1 in the university. So I made some savings, and one would say that after that year 1, where would the remaining money come from? Without knowing that God has His own plan. And by the time I tendered my resignation at my place of work, they replied me to say that, please, we are accepting your resignation, but every long vacation, come here, you'll be assured of your job. And surprisingly, I was coming for a vacational job on a higher salary than when I was a full-time staff. And within working for 2-3 months, I was able to get enough money to take care of my needs for the next 1 year in the university. And that's how God sponsored me through the secondary school, through the university. No. But I have an inspiration. I remember when I finished my first degree, I just wrote a poem to myself in which I told myself that first degree is not ordinary, and that greater heights, that's the word I use, I say greater heights lie beyond the bachelor's degree. And my mind from the word go had been that I was going to have a higher degree, and I had my mind also was focused on having a career in the university. So I had that ambition, that vision from the word go. So I was just pursuing it, and God was backing me. You see, we need to have great visions. But in the course of having great visions, there are forces that can hinder one from attaining the vision. One is that if you have great vision and you play with forces that can destroy your vision, the vision will not be achieved. A young person with a vision that is playing with sin, that's playing with immorality, will not make it. It's the case of a friend that I know of who had a very good school cert, but many years after the school, he can't go beyond the school cert because along the line, he has gone to put a lady in the family way. And now he's not taking care of baby and he cannot even move beyond the school cert, despite the good result that he had. I think that one is that to achieve one's vision, one needs the fear of God. To achieve one vision, one needs faith. Because along the line, there will be so many things that want to discourage you. There will be forces that will be telling you that you cannot make it. There will be forces that want you to tell you that you do not have support, that you don't have helpers. There will be forces that will be asking you give up. But if you're a Christian that studies the Word of God every day, the Word of God will be giving you faith that with God you can make it. When faith and prayer and a life of righteousness back up your vision, you will achieve it. I'm not so sure that I will want, since to change anything. I became born again since age 17, and all through God has been leading me. I think that God has led me aright all the way. Although some of the pathway by which God leads me may be bumpy, they may involve battles, but those battles are necessary to move forward in life. To succeed in academics, you need the favor of God. If you are highly brilliant, and you go into academics and you don't have people to help you, good mentors to show you the way, you'll be a failure. For example, God favored me with my master's degree supervisor. He knows how to get research grants, and he showed us. He was also the one who supervised my PhD. So the favor of God in directing me to him, to learn from him, is what you really need to move forward in academics. So to now be able to make it in academics, you need to pray for favor. I don't know if I mentioned it. When I was about to do my PhD, I applied for a foreign grant on my PhD topic, and I got a foreign grant. Meaning that I have enough foreign money to buy my chemicals, reagents, facilities that I need to do a good research. In the course of doing my PhD too, I got a 3 months fellowship in Germany, where I had all the equipment available for me to just do the work I want to do. To the extent that by the time I came back from Germany, people in my colleagues knew that I've done high beyond their own level within this setup. So to get those opportunities, you need the favor of God. And that's why without God, it will be difficult to make it in academics. And you also find out that not just in academics alone, in every sphere of life, whether no matter where you are, there will be challenges. Enemies will be in your place of work. There will be attackers. You want to move forward, there will be people who want to pull you down. So the only way to survive it is to be close to work with God and to be prayerful. God will deliver me from them. And it was not my power. It's not because I struggled with them. So what my freedom, my overcoming them was not of my own doing. And all that I have done is to take them out of my mind. Not to think about them. not to be it's not of me to now say I want to revenge, because it was not my power that helped me to overcome them. And two, sincerely, I look at some of them, they were not the one who wrote that petition. Some other external people wrote it. They just called them in to come and sign. So they were just being used. And many of them did not know the truth. For example, some of the journalists who wrote all those things against me were now friends. They are now telling me that they were confused by some people. I will see that those so-called norms or those distractions are also present at our own time. For example, by the time I became born again, they were complaining my mother was complaining that I did not have girlfriend. My immediate senior brother goes to Fela's shrine every Friday. The tension was that I could have been distracted to follow them, but I stood my ground. People were calling us names. They were making jest of us, sue people. They thought that we cannot amount to anything in life. So I think the same way by which we resisted the evil attractions of our time is the same way that people of today, young people of today, should resist it. Except that today, with the advent of internet, the ease, of falling into sexual immorality is so high. Today, in our own time, we did not have Yahoo boys. We don't have young people riding cars. I think each person should decide on where he or she is going. If your focus in life is money, it's wrong. You've missed it. So everybody should decide on, make a choice. Do you want to live for God or you want to live for the world? So, and when you decide for God, you decide not to be sidelined. And the best way to do it is to commit yourself to reading the Word of God on a daily basis and live by the Word. It's not easy, but you live by the Word. There will be attraction, there will be temptations. I don't know if I've shared this in the church before. There was a time I was the head of coordinator, like head of my department. Will you believe that my secretary came to me one day and said that, doctor, I need your help. That our own mother-in-law sent her that she should go and look for any man to put her in the family way so that she become pregnant. Some other people will jump at it and this is free sex, and they will lose their virtues. And the plan of God for their lives will just be wasted. Those temptations were there at our own time. But just like in the time of Joseph, the youth of today should run away from appearances of evil, appearances of sin. They should run away. They should not even play around with it. Is there that you'll be surprised that I don't think I've achieved much? I do not think I've achieved much. The greatest asset that I have today is God. Is God. I don't even see all those things as they are just minor. The greatest asset I have is that I'm serving God. And I have more joy in serving God than doing any other thing. In terms of achievement, I've not achieved, I've not finished. When you really look at what I want to do, I've not achieved all. There are still so many things that I need to do that I've not done. There are books that I need to write that I'm yet to write. I am still looking for opportunity to help destinies. I've not been able to do that much. thing about the Secretariat of AU was that I worked in AU before. And while working there, I never ever thought that I could become Secretary General. To me, to attain that height was going to be very difficult. I was there, when I got to AAU, the first time I was just a professor. I knew that to become the Secretary of AAU, they require that you must be a former Vice Chancellor. I never knew that I could become a Vice Chancellor. So it was not I never thought I could make it. But now that I've made it, I just look at it that it was a divine arrangement. And I had some divine assignments. As a person, I've set up some assignment that I want to achieve. I've set up my vision for the place. I've developed my roadmap to achieving those visions. And all I'm just going to do is to look up on God to see me through. That level 2 is not that there will not be challenges. There will be people that you have to manage people. You have to manage situations. But the only difference between the place I'm going now and the place I'm coming from is that, you see, in the international organizations, there are international standards. Most of the people you are working with are professionals. In the international setup, you won't give out contract and somebody will be talking of 10%. Me as a person, I do not need to ask to expect anybody to give me any money. It's unprofessional. Because what they are giving me, I'm satisfied. I don't need to tell lies. For example, when I was working in AU, there was a time they gave me money to travel out to the country, $2,000. I traveled down only for those people right there to pay for the flight. I had to come back to Accra and say that take back the $2,000. In Nigeria, as a Vice Chancellor, when I did that, people are now making jest of me. So the international setup, there are some norms that people abide by. You know, I'm not asking you, you don't need to do what you are not supposed. You know your standard. And if anybody comes around and do otherwise, you deal with the person straight off. And nobody will blame you for standing by what is right. No. And most of the people that work internationally, they are professionals. They are people, they don't just give jobs to non-entities. People don't get the job through who you know. They are more concerned about who you are, what you can do. But it can also be said that your certificate is not important. It is what you can contribute that they are concerned with. And that made me to just remember, you'll be surprised that for the last time people asked me where is your certificate was when I was getting a job as an assistant lecturer. Every other job I've got, people have not been asking me where is your certificate. They are asking more of what can you do? What are the skills that you are bringing in? Then it's not a matter of connection. Connection cannot help you except for divine connection. We have a problem in Africa. We have a problem. Our colonial history is affecting us. The colonial masters in Africa, who were the one who set up higher education, universities, polytechnic, they set them up with the intention of producing manpower for the civil service. But right now, the civil service is filled up. We need to have changed our curricula and change the way we do things. The other parts of the world appears to be changing. we are not changing. We are still holding on to the old colonial system. To the extent that our graduates now, for them to survive, need to have some skills. If you lack those skills and you carry certificates, you cannot survive. And it's high time our universities recognize this and start to intentionally build skills into the life of our students. But to also do this, you need to also build the lecturers. The lecturers appear not to want to change. The system of teaching of old is still the one we are still using now, whereby teaching in the universities of higher education in Africa now is more teacher-centered. A teacher comes and starts to dictate, But things have changed in the world. Learning should be more student-centered, whereby the teacher is just going to prompt you. You can know more than your lecturer. Your lecturer can learn from you. There are some innovative things that will come through you, despite your age. The age in which people are making great things now is between the age of 21 and 25. That's an age they should be encouraged to think. But our system is not making our young people to think at that age. They are making them to look like learning is like a master-servant relationship. Your lecturer is coming, you are shaking. Somebody calls himself your supervisor, is telling you you are useless. Who can say you are useless? It is not allowed. So we need to change the system of our learning. But now, if the country refuses to change, a young person who allows himself to be wasted by the current system is a fool. Our young people who knows where they are going should know that those skills they cannot get from the university, they should go and get it now. In fact, the skilled people who are getting skilled now, they teach themselves beyond what they are taught in the university. There are some short courses, online courses, online certification that appears to be more relevant now than even the university degree. And if you can get those skills, you'll be able to survive. For example, now, I can't imagine a university graduate who is not computer literate. And you find out that to survive in life is not just the degree, things like your relationship with your colleagues. You are in an environment, you cannot accept anybody to correct you. It cannot help you to move forward in life. Or you've got to a level you think that you are the master, whereas you are nothing. Or somebody who has just got a PhD, who thinks that with my doctorate, they should know. I should tell you, PhD is nothing. It is you yourself, your personal relationship that will move you beyond your PhD. So our young people today should, analyze the world they are living in. We're in a world where your university may not help you, except you help yourself beyond your university. We're in a world whereby it is not your degree that matters, it's your skills and your innate abilities. There are people now who may become lawyers, but it's not the law that they will use to survive. They've just got the law degree to help them to fight for their rights. They need to go into business. They need to go to ICT. It's the world where somebody will say that I'm an art student, therefore computer is not for me. I will tell you some of the best brain, some of the best people in computer area. There are people who studied history, geography. So the young people should be told that they should rebuild themselves. Know where you are going. In every profession, you can sit down now and say that this is my profession. this is what I need to get to the top. Sit as a young person, analyze it, and ask yourself, what should I do to make it? And pursue it. It will need to change, but it will not change immediately. Because who will drive the change? Are they professors who don't know how to use the computer? Are they professors who still behave as if they are masters over their students? I think a new generation will need to come up. Some people, the change will come, but it will not be immediate. But our young people who going through them should not make themselves victims of the system. They should change their own orientation, their own thinking. And I think that that's why children of God should come in. It's only when you're a child of God that can recognize what I'm telling you now. And then they separate yourself from the system of your world and the system of your country and go to God and say, God, what do you want to do in life? How can I be there? My final charge, as I mentioned today, is that, you see, to be born again is not to be relegated to the backgrounds of life. When you are born again, when Christ is living in you, it's an empowerment to be the best there can be. And to be the best you can be, righteousness is very paramount. Christians who compromise their Christianity, they destroy their own lives. And that's why I will advise that young people, if you have Christ, be dogmatic about Christ. Don't compromise. Don't compromise on the word of God. Don't say that it's difficult, it's impossible to live a holy life. Live a holy life. That's what the word of God says. Then be a disciplined Christian. Discipline that you pray, you read the word of God, you attend fellowships. It's not an easy thing. It costs. To be able to go to church every Sunday is a discipline. To fellowship with other believers is a discipline. You need to decide on what you want in life. A friend that will not help you to be your best, cut him off. The fact that you are even attend the same church does not mean that I will walk with you. If your ways are not right, I will not follow you. So you need to make your choice and say that this is my own type of life. And as we have it throughout this year, decide to walk with God. When you walk with God, God will take you to high places.
Thank you so much, sir.